Have you ever woken up in the morning with the feeling that the world was somehow different? Something you can't quite put your finger on. You're not sure how or why things have changed, but something feels a little off. Perhaps you woke up, made yourself some breakfast, and checked the news. But wait a second. The name of a famous politician or celebrity seems to be spelled in a different way. Or maybe you find out that a celebrity is still alive, even though you could have sworn you heard that they were dead a few months back. Maybe you walk to the door, only to find that the knob is in a different place than you remember. Is it all in your head? Are you just imagining these changes? Or is it all part of something conspiracy theorists call the Mandela Effect? What exactly is the Mandela Effect? And if this conspiracy theory is real, then what does it say about our universe? Let's find out.
51 million people entering another
surveillance camera capturing the
unidentified flying
lockdowns and mass testing.
today that the world is going to end.
People have been experiencing what psychologists call false memories for thousands of years. However, the phrase Mandela Effect was only coined somewhat recently, when a woman named FIONA BROOME claimed that she had clear memories of South African President Nelson Mandela dying in prison. But there was only one problem. Nelson Mandela was still alive and well. In fact, Mandela left prison and served as president of South Africa before passing away much later, in 2013. Now, Fiona's recollections might have been dismissed as the wild ravings of a schizophrenic, but she wasn't the only one with these false memories. After FIONA BROOME started to speak about it, many others joined her and claimed that they too remembered Mandela dying sometime in the 80s. Perhaps you also have clear memories of Mandela's death. What exactly is going on here? How could so many people have the same seemingly inaccurate memory? Before we get into some of the theories, let's explore a few other notable examples of the Mandela Effect. Another very common example of the Mandela Effect involves Darth Vader's famous line, "Luke, I am your father." It's an iconic moment in sci-fi history, but it never actually happened. Go back and watch the movie again, and you'll find that what Vader really says is,
"No, I am your father."
On that same note, no one ever says the words, "Mirror, mirror on the wall" in Snow White. Instead, the Wicked Queen says, "Magic mirror on the wall."
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Perhaps you remember reading the Berenstein Bears book series as a child. But is that really the correct spelling? Go back and look at all of the titles today, and you'll find that the title is actually spelled Berenstein Bears. How could this possibly be true when so many people have clear memories of a completely different spelling? A similar example of the Mandela Effect involves the spelling of Oscar Mayer. Check out the brand name today, and you'll find the correct spelling is actually Oscar Mayer. Seems impossible, right? Everyone knows that there's a peanut butter brand out there called Jiffy, right? Nope, that's all in your imagination, because the real spelling of the brand is actually Jif. And what about Looney Tunes? Again, that spelling is incorrect, and the real title is somewhat nonsensical, Looney Tunes. Remember Curious George? He never actually had a tail. That's right, for whatever reason, the artist chose to draw the monkey without a tail, even though countless people have clear memories of it being present. The show Sex in the City is actually called Sex and the City, even though many people clearly remember the first spelling. Remember the Monopoly Man from the famous board game? Did you know that he actually never had a monocle? Seems impossible, right? Colors also seem to create false memories. For example, many people agree that the color chartreuse is a shade of purple or pink, but in reality, it's a shade of green. Some people believe that the world map has been changing. One of the most common examples of this is the location of New Zealand, which is located southeast of Australia. However, numerous people seem to clearly remember the island being located on the northeast side of Australia. What about Hillary Clinton? Wasn't her name spelled with just one L previously? Those are just a few examples, and new, false memories seem to arise with each passing day. Maybe you have your own experiences with the Mandela Effect. Let us know in the comments. So why is this happening to so many people? Well, there are two main schools of thought. On one hand, you have the mainstream psychologists who actually believe that it's all in our heads, although other explanations are much more interesting. We should at least consider the fact that these psychologists might be right. One possible explanation is pretty straightforward. Our memories really aren't that reliable. You see, when our brains record memories, our hard drive isn't big enough to handle every single detail. Instead, we remember only the most important things about an event. When we retrieve these memories, all of the other minor details are recreated by filling in the gaps with our imagination. This leads to memories that are actually very inaccurate in some cases. The human brain can't access a stored memory in the same way a computer accesses a stored file. Instead, we must literally recreate the memory. This technically means that all of your memories are false, not just those that seem to be a part of the Mandela Effect. Studies have shown that false memories can be implanted with clever lure words and other techniques. Confabulations can often occur when people make false statements based on what they believe to be accurate memories. These people aren't lying. They genuinely believe that their memories are real, even though they are false. Priming is another example of how memories can be altered and manipulated. For example, people are more likely to connect two related concepts rather than unrelated ones. This can be used to plant ideas in people's heads, and it's a common tactic in advertising or propaganda. Some psychologists believe that the Mandela Effect is essentially the result of peer pressure. Humans naturally want to belong, and they might feel a sense of obligation to agree that they have certain false memories, even though their memories of certain events are actually quite accurate. But that's just what the psychologists think. What about the rest of us? Are there any other theories that might explain the existence of the Mandela Effect? This is where it starts to get interesting. Remember the woman who coined the phrase Mandela Effect? She believes that this might be the result of parallel or alternate universes colliding with each other. She says that when this occurs, we may inherit certain memories from completely different realities. In other words, we begin to merge with another version of ourselves that has experienced something slightly different in the past. As it turns out, this theory has at least some basis in real science. According to string theory, our universe is just one of many realities that exist simultaneously. There might be a few of these alternate universes coexisting with our own, or there might be an infinite number of parallel realities, known as the multiverse. Although this theory is unproven, quantum physicists believe that these parallel universes could vibrate in 10 dimensions. Under certain circumstances, these alternate realities could potentially bleed into each other, This might cause unexplained changes to occur, such as the spelling of Berenstein bears, or the color of chartreuse. Of course, most of us would be completely unaware of these changes since our brains would also be altered, but a few of us could have some kind of residual memory of the previous unaltered universe that refuses to go away. This could explain the Mandela Effect. But wait a second. If these unstable parallel universes are starting to collide with each other, then what's causing the instability? Hold on to your hats, because we're about to go even deeper into the rabbit hole. There are those who say that humans could be to blame for the breakdown in the fabric of space and time. One possible culprit is CERN, the facility famous for its questionable logo, sculptures, and Large Hadron Collider. Although most mainstream scientists assure us that this facility's experiments are completely safe, others say that they could accidentally create tiny quantum black holes. These highly unstable events could damage or even destroy our universe, and possibly the entire multiverse. Could these experiments cause multiversal instability that in turn leads us to the Mandela Effect? You have to remember that there may be many other experiments taking place that we're not even aware of. CERN is right out there in the open, but there could be secret facilities in Area 51 and other locations that are playing around with dangerous physics-bending technology. Due to the fact that the Pentagon keeps many of its military tests top secret, there's really no way to know what they're up to behind closed doors. For more information about CERN, be sure to check out our full video on the facility. Some suggest that we might have access to some kind of time travel device. If this is true, then perhaps the Mandela Effect occurs when people go back in time and change things. Maybe we actually lost World War II to the Germans, but our time travel device allowed us to go back in time and ensure victory. Perhaps whenever we go back and change something, a ripple effect occurs, changing small variations like Darth Vader's famous line or Curious George's tale. If you don't believe that time travel is possible based on our current technology, consider this. Humans may one day invent time travel, and when that moment occurs, our timeline as a species becomes largely irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether we have access to this technology today, because time travelers could simply visit us from the future. Try to view time as a circle or a hole, rather than a straight line. If we are capable of creating time travel, then it has already happened in the future. Maybe our minds are playing tricks on us. Maybe the Mandela Effect is simply a psychological phenomenon, a sign of the fallibility of the human mind. Or maybe something else is going on here. Perhaps we'll never know for sure, but it's always a good idea to trust your instincts and keep your eyes open. If you believe that the universe is changing around you, who knows? You might be right.